Don't call it a comeback. Welcome to the Sacramento Real Estate Show. We're here covering all Sacramento real estate questions and lending questions as well. So I got my guy, Ben Johnston, and we're here to help you figure out what to do if you're looking to buy or sell or invest in real estate. We're the go-to guys. Also, we're here on this last day of September, getting ready for the new month. What's going on, Ben?
Good afternoon. Happy Friday. I'm glad to be here, man. Thanks for having me again.
Yes, sir. It's always a pleasure. I'm excited, ready for this new month. We're getting in that season, man, that holiday season where it's just going to hit us back to back. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, man. Football started. I got the Burrows combo in my fantasy team last night, so I'm feeling good.
You got it good then, because I'm over here hurting, man. We ain't even got a win yet, so
yeah, I
we
know
got to get
it'll come.
Hopefully, I hope we're not the only winless team this time next week. So it's a lot of interesting things going on in the market right now. Some exciting things. We got some. Is that me?
I think it was.
Oh, it's the.
It's gone now. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you. I think it was the airplanes above. I live over here kind of close to the Mather Air Force Base. So when they're running trainings, man, it's like, goodness gracious.
Yeah. I actually live near the airport in Cameron Park, and they did like a little air show on Saturday. So I know what you mean. Yep.
Yeah, man, they're right there. I mean, it's cool to see and all, but geez, the military planes, man, some of them are big, so they look like they're flying way low, and some of them are just crazy fast. And when they hit that gas, man, but
don't they do a big air show out there every year?
You know what? I think so. My neighbor, he told me he used it back before they built the rest of the houses. He used to be able to sit out front and watch them. So I just don't know when exactly.
Yeah, because my first house was actually on, it was over there by the school on the other side of Folsom Boulevard in Rancho. And we used to see the airplanes fly over.
Yeah, they're tight, man. I don't really know airplanes that well, but they got some crazy looking ones, man. I'm like, okay, the military's badass.
Yeah, that's the truth,
military folks. So, yeah, man. So some good things jumping off in the market, some crazy things. The good, the bad, the ugly. Let's get into it.
Yeah, definitely, man. And talking about the military and everything, for our veterans out there, we actually have a closing cost credit that we do for veterans. And honestly, a VA loan is like one of the best loans you can get. It's zero down. The rates are good. And so if there's any veterans that have questions about that, we'd love to help you out and serve you. So, a lot of movement in the real estate and mortgage world this week. Rates are up a bit. But there's some positive news coming out too. So I wanted to share a couple stats. We all see it in the news, the Fed hiking the Fed funds rate and what they're doing to try to get inflation down. So today, some of those inflation numbers came out. And the one that came out today is called the PCE. And that's the personal consumption expenditure. So this is a number that comes out each month. And basically that talks about where people are spending money and how much they're spending. And when you hear in the news that the Fed wants to see inflation around 2%, this is the number
Okay.
that they're looking at and that they're talking about. So the PCE, there's a headline rate, which includes all spending, including food and energy and everything. And then
Okay.
there's the core rate, which the PCE core rate takes out food and energy. And so the total number went from 6.4 down to 6.2. And that's mainly because, as far as energy costs goes, the cost of gas has come down a little bit. So that's why
Okay.
that number declined. But the core rate, check this out. The core rate was 4.7 last year, and it's actually 4.9 this year. So the Fed's goal is to get that number to come down, and it came up a little bit this month. But
Still?
yeah, still. But they have raised the Fed funds rate 2 times, which they're raising that rate to get inflation down. So there's a lag time period from when those rate increases take effect. So what economists are saying are we'll start to see those effects in November, December, and on into the beginning of next year. So what
Okay.
that means for us is when that number does start coming down, interest rates for mortgages are going to come back down. So they're a little bit high right now. They're between like 6 and 7%. So they're really high. But there's light at the end of the tunnel because those will start to come back down. So, you can speak to what buyers are seeing out there. I think it's a good opportunity to scoop up deals as long as you can manage that payment for the next, 12 months foreseeable future. But I do think that the rates are going to come back down early next year. And they're talking about rates being back under 6% and possibly even back under 5%. So that's what's going on in the market this week. Rates came up on Monday quite a bit. They came back down a little bit yesterday, but we're still kind of up there looking forward to the next few months for those to come back down.
Thank you, Ben, for giving us that information. It's important that we keep track of that. We're rooting for rates to come back down. But as far as what the Fed is, what they believe is working. So, yeah, I'll take them as their word for what they say, meaning that they may, stay steady at least until, like you said, hopefully by next year, we'll see that. But honestly, I still think that, the higher the rate, the lower the prices. Usually that's the way it goes, right? And so I was reading the Sacramento Appraiser blog, our guy, Ryan Lundquist, and he was saying that the median home price is down 7% since May.
Wow.
So it kind of correlates with when the rate, kind of jumped up there and the prices start coming down. So it's rare that you're going to see, like, we've had this great period where rates were low and prices were skyrocketing. So when not since 2012 have I seen low prices and low rates at the same time. So it's really subjective to who you are as a consumer, because there's still people that can afford to buy now, and they're scooping up the great deals. So if you don't know whether or not, or if you want to know, should I say, where you stand as far as purchasing a home today, please talk to Ben Johnston. He does a great job at getting his clients qualified. He walks you through the process. Once we know your numbers, then we can get out there and start shopping. So I recommend that. Don't sit on the sidelines waiting for rates to come down. That's not the most intelligent thing to do if you don't have the numbers, because
Yeah.
it may, you might think, oh, I'll wait till March before I get started. And then March comes and it comes to find out that you have some things on your credit that you got to get taken off, which could take another 6 months.
Yep.
Or anything like that. So it's good to know where you stand, at least, not to say you have to pull the trigger right now, because if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense, right? We're not here to
Yeah.
force you to buy. We just want you to know where you stand so you can make an informed decision.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to mention. Sometimes I talk to people before they actually fill out an application to find out what their numbers are. And the misconception oftentimes is that if I do apply now and I get that pre-approval letter, that I need to get a loan within a certain amount of time. And that's just not the case. So, like we've worked with some clients before, and it's just about finding out what your numbers are. So, I just did a quick video on my Instagram account, and it's talking about looking at three things to find out whether or not you should even consider buying. So, job security is a big one. If you have
Mhm.
job history and you're comfortable with the job, you're doing something that you like doing, and you see yourself continuing on that path, that's one thing to take note of. If you have some money saved, you don't have to have 20%. A lot of times for first time home buyers, we're doing 3% or 5% down. Sometimes it comes from a 401k account or gift funds from a family member. Or, like we've talked about in the past, some of these down payment assistance programs are really good to help you get in the house. So, if you have some
Absolutely.
type of savings, if you have some job history, some track record there, um, those are two of the things to look at. And then also, when you do sit down with me, we look and we find out what that monthly payment looks like. So if that's comparable what you're paying in rent, or if it's within your comfort level, now we have all the information so that we can make an informed decision on whether or not there's a house out there that fits your price and budget. Um, so yeah, that's a good point. If you do just, we can get on a phone call, a Zoom call here in the office, find out what the numbers are, and then make a decision from there. And probably the number one thing to look at is getting a credit report pulled. It doesn't hurt your credit, which is another common misconception. It just
Yeah.
gives us the information so we can put a plan together. If you can get your score up by paying something down or getting something removed, we cover that in the consultation too. So it's good to do that ahead of time, get all your ducks in a row, and then if the right house does come up or the interest rates do drop, you can act quickly. Because what will happen is when rates do come back down, we're going to see a bunch of people jump back in the market, and that's going to cause prices to go up. We're going to be back in multiple offer situations. So it's a good opportunity in this kind of slower time to get your numbers right and find out what you're able to do.
Yeah, because I was speaking of that rush in. I'm looking at some of the numbers, the trends going on.
Mhm.
Sacramento, El Dorado, Yolo County combined, Placer, and comparing the number of listings this month to the same time last year,
Mhm.
um, there's a 35% difference. So,
Oh, wow.
but the home sales are down 35% compared to the same time last year. So we have more homes on the market, and they're sitting a little longer. I mean, the months of inventory is up to 2.7
Okay.
versus 1.2 this same time last year, and the same time last month it was at 2.1. So there's definitely opportunity for buyers to go out there and have a agent like myself, Eric the real estate guy, to get out there and negotiate for you a great deal. um, Being able to get you qualified, we'll be able to negotiate you maybe some closing costs. We'll also look to strategize maybe get the price even knocked down. I mean, can you imagine
Yeah.
being a seller right now and your house is empty and um, you don't have any buyers knocking on your door are coming to see your
Yeah.
house? That's when we come in and we make things happen for you. That's where the magic is. That's where um, that I feel like that's what I was put on this earth to do, is to negotiate those kind of deals. Like it
Yeah,
gets my
you're
juices
definitely the
flowing, man.
master at that, finding
I
the
love
deals, putting it together. And then also, it seems like to me, because of that inventory that we have right now, um, I feel like a lot of people in the last couple of years, once they were pre-approved, they really kind of felt that pressure that, hey, if we do find a house that meets your needs, you have to go for it, be all in because it's so competitive. I feel like the climate right now is allowing for buyers to be a little more picky, right? Because it's
yeah.
not such a crazy urgency. They don't have to feel rushed to get into something. Find out what your numbers are, take your time, find something that fits your needs, location, square footage, all that stuff. So, and then the additional negotiating power too, I think is really good.
Man, that's excellent. I mean, like you said, just I mean, you're going to be in the house um, longer than hopefully you'll have the high rate. So,
Mhm.
and you can refinance. I mean, and keep your beautiful home that you want. So, as
Yeah.
long as the payment makes sense, don't get stuck on the rate. And there's also situations to where, when I bought my first home, my rate was 8%. I don't even think people even,
Wow.
yeah, you can't. It's hard to even
We're not
imagine,
there.
right, a rate like that. But with
Yeah.
us old timers, I've been around long enough to know. Now I remember when I first was complaining about my 8% rate, and I heard the old timers like, "You don't know what a high rate is. It was double
Right.
that."
Yeah, we used to
13,
be
14.
13,
Yeah,
14. Yeah,
crazy. So
and our
we're some
system,
grizzly seasoned vets here. So we've seen it, man. We got the scars to prove it.
yeah. So once we do the purchase loan, the initial financing, our system, when the rates do drop, we automatically reach out to you and do a refinance at a discount because you're already a current client. So
Oh, hold
yeah,
on, hold on. We don't want them to miss that.
yeah,
So you mean you have a system that updates you and tells you, hey, you bought with us. We
yep.
were able to serve you. You and your family get your keys, move in. You're relaxed. Don't worry about watching everything on the news. Um, just know that we got you. So we're paying attention to that. And then there's a discount on the refi. Tell us some more about that.
Yeah, so as current clients, we have some streamlined processes to get that rate reduction. So oftentimes we won't need an appraisal, or we'll cover the cost of the appraisal and kind of discount those fees for current customers. So it's a really smooth process. Um, I mean, like you said, when you buy your first house, we do everything we can to educate you in that process, and it's new and it moves quickly once you get into contract on a house. But the refinance piece, there's not a real timeline attached to it. So it's a much smoother process to lower that rate once you're in the house already.
Man, that's awesome because
Yeah.
people do get concerned, about the rate right now. And honestly, I've, um, there's also other ways to take care of the rate, right? I mean, I know it could get expensive, but can you
Mhm.
talk a little bit about buying down the rate in the event that you could negotiate a lot of other things, such as your closing costs?
Yeah. So what we're finding right now is, you know, if there's a house listed, let's say it's for $450,000, instead of sending an offer in that's lower than the list price, we can actually ask those sellers to credit some money back to the buyer to help buy down the interest rate. And a lot of times, by buying down that interest rate with a credit that comes from the seller, it actually saves you more money per month had you written the lower offer. So like you said, you negotiate these deals and you make it make sense for everyone. A seller credit to buy down the interest rate is a really good strategy. So you can spend a certain amount of money, whether it be from you or a seller credit, and you can buy that rate down for the whole term of the 30-year loan. Or what we're doing a lot right now is it's called a temporary buy down. So if today's rate is 6.5%, you actually get a 4.5% the first year, and then it goes to a 5.5%, and then it goes to the 6.5%. So that's a really good strategy, because you might have your 4.5% payment for 12 months, and then the rates drop to 4 or whatever, and then you can refinance to that rate permanently. So there's definitely some options when it comes to the financing. You don't necessarily have to look at what the rates are on the news and just assume that's what it is, because there is room for negotiation right now.
Right. And then also, talk to about that rate, because everybody's like, oh, the rate is, that kind of explain to them, because oftentimes they'll see this is the rate, but doesn't it still depend on their specific situation?
Yeah, it does. So everybody's different,
Did I
right?
lose you, Ben?
What's that? Yeah, everybody's different when it comes to rates. So they are credit score driven. Sometimes it depends on how much down payment you put down. And so there's a number of factors that go into that rate. So, that's another reason why it's important to pull a credit report, find out where you're actually at. Because if you're looking on Zillow and stuff like that, those numbers, they're just not real. Yeah. So we have to be really careful about looking at stuff online.
Yeah, they can't be. I mean, they don't even know you.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. So so you get that rate down, and it also explain to our viewers, because they hear, because of what's going on in the market, also the
Mhm.
economy, everybody's um, fear who's been around, like I said, as veterans, think everything is going to be like it was in 2006. And those exotic, type of packages came out, that were allowing people to have a lower rate,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then it wasn't fixed, so it adjusted, and you thought you can refinance, but the rate went higher, and so a lot of people got caught um, in that situation, buying something that they thought that their rate can come down. So
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of
let
those
kind of
loans,
speak to that, so that they loan packages that are going to get you caught out
yeah.
there if the
Yeah. A
rate
lot of those
doesn't
loans,
come
like
back
you're,
down. So
like
how
you're
does
saying,
that process protect them?
so after 2008, those negative amortization and a lot of those adjustable loans, they're pretty much gone. So, um, 9 times out of 10, we're just doing a 30-year fixed mortgage. The buy down is a little bit different because it's temporarily lower, but it never goes higher than the actual market rate. So all the loans are underwritten to the point to where you can actually make those payments, and it's not going to jump on you and get unaffordable.
That me?
Yeah, we lost you for a second.
Okay.
You're back now.
So, okay. Did you hear that last piece where I was saying
Yeah.
about the exotic loans, and can you kind of go through that product that you just explained to us, how it protects them in the
Yep.
event that the rate does go up?
Yeah. So I was saying, like 9 times out of 10, we're doing a 30-year fix. They don't even have those types of loans anymore that can adjust and have the payment jump on you. So the buy down, we're starting at the market rate and buying it down from there, but it can
Hmm.
never go above that market rate. So it's not something that's going to adjust out of control. You'll know what the maximum payment will be on that loan. Yep. So it is a 30-year
and
fixed deal.
and don't you still have to qualify at that higher rate?
Yeah. Yeah. So we
Okay,
qualify you at the market rate. You just get
market
the
rate. Sorry, I
benefit of
said
that
higher
lower
rate.
payment
Market rate.
for the first 2 years. Exactly.
Okay. And then in the event that your market rate, let's say, is 5.7, you got
Mhm.
the buy down for the 2 years, and then let's say it goes to 5%. When you still are allowed to refinance at that time to the
Yeah.
lower
So
rate. Am I hearing you correctly?
yeah. So there's no prepayment penalties or anything. So you can refinance at any time in that loan. And so basically the money to buy that rate down temporarily for the first 2 years, that's actually held in an escrow account. So if you refinance in 6 months, that money goes towards your new loan. You never lose that money. So like whether it's your money or from a seller credit, you never
Mhm.
lose that benefit. It goes towards the new loan. Whereas if you buy the rate down permanently for the first, for the whole 30 years, you're spending that money up front. And then if you refinance in 6 months, you might lose that benefit. So yeah, the temporary 2-1 buy down is a really good program to use right now for affordability.
Oh man, yeah, that's awesome, man. Thank you for sharing that, man. Because I know, we got some. I had a couple of people that were interested in purchasing this year, and they
Mhm.
got caught waiting for a lower rate, and just for prices to come down. And it once some prices did come down, the rate jumped so high on them that they no longer could afford what they wanted. And I
Yeah,
know
so
that's
it overwhelmed the benefit. So yeah, this is important because I've been doing this for 16 years. I think you and I got in the business around the same time, right?
yeah.
So we have a lot of experience in different markets that's not just the last 5 years. And so there are loan people out there that don't know about these programs and they might not necessarily be talking about them. So it's really important to sit down and get educated on all the options. Um, like I said, I mean, if you hop on Rocket Mortgage, one, their interest rates are higher than the average rate in the country and their fees are higher. And then number two, you're going to go through a website and it's going to spit out a monthly payment and a pre-approval amount for you, but they're not going to tell you about these additional benefits that you might be able to benefit from unless you sit down with somebody that actually knows what's available. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
that's why we have such good client experience, and people come back to us to do business in the future because they know we have everything out there available.
Hey man, that's what I tell you all the time. Don't just jump on these websites. We struggle as agents, we struggle with that with Zillow. You see a
Yeah.
lot of these, that's their game. What they do is they put that out there. So you'll click on it, you'll take a look at it, and oftentimes they're not available, or you miss certain properties that are more how could I put it? So say for instance, like how I was talking about vacant homes. You
Hmm.
find one that you can actually get into and negotiate a better position for yourself as a buyer because of things like that. They don't know the psychology of the seller. They're not
Yeah.
calling the seller. They're not having that conversation. So it's important to get with me first. Um, I mean, it's okay to look at it. I call it eye candy, and you just kind of look at it, get yourself an idea. But make sure you give me a call so I can tell you, kind of what the position is of that seller before wasting your time, even going out there, getting your hopes up, and uh, you're dealing with somebody that may be unrealistic,
Hmm.
or uh, may have some things, that they can share, their agent can share with me that um, maybe could potentially be something that you don't even want to mess with. So,
Yeah.
um,
I was talking to somebody the other day and it's like the home purchase, whether it's your first house, whether it's a rental, whether you're selling a house and then moving into another one. I mean, this is like your number one investment, right? If not the number one of the biggest investments. And it would be like having $400,000 or $500,000 in the bank and not having somebody helping you, like a financial advisor, kind of directing you on what's possible to do with that money to help it grow for you. Um, it'd be like just going on Robinhood and throwing $500,000 at whatever you thought was good, right? Like it really goes a long way to have an experienced team
Yeah.
that's saying, hey, this is kind of how people do it. This is our experience from the past. And you really need a team of professionals to help manage that investment for you.
Yeah, man, especially in the times like these when things are
Yeah.
changing rapidly. Stick with the guys that have their ears to the streets,
Yep.
that understand the process, that definitely is passionate about helping buyers get their keys, man. There's no greater feeling. I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm more happy than they are.
Yeah,
Because
it's exciting
you
because
have
you can
kids.
foresee the future, right? If somebody's
Yeah, we
going
can
through it for
see
the
you
first
like,
time.
man, I love it, man. I love seeing those new families, get in their house and they didn't have any kids at the time. And then, a couple of years later, all the bedrooms are full and kids are
Yeah.
running around, man. And I just, they're playing in the backyard that I was able to help facilitate that transaction. Man, man, that's a great feeling, man. And I've
Yeah.
seen it time and time again. Or, the first time home buyers, they go out there, was a struggle to get in the house. They finally get in, they reap the benefits of their equity, and they're able to sell and move out and get it and do a move up. Man, those are just, or even those who retire, they sell, retire, and, move out of state. That's still a joy, man. Knowing that I was able to help them have their forever home in another state is just as, fulfilling to me. So,
Yeah.
and,
And just sharing personal experience, like from buying our first homes, what type of improvements we went through, what lessons we learned, what type of financing we did. Like we've
yeah.
already been through that, and so we can help people avoid mistakes and tell them what the right things are to do. Right?
Yes, sir. So, hey, Ben, man, it looks like we gave him some game, some of that real estate game, some important information that they could take home with them, and share the show, because we love sharing this with you. You got any last words, Ben?
Absolutely. Just want to wish everyone a great weekend. I hope everyone's winding down their summer well, and kids are back in school and football's going. So enjoy the season. Please let us know how we can help you out for your future.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate you, and thank you for sharing with our viewers, Ben. Have a
Thank
great
you, Eric.
weekend.
I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay.